Hey everybody, welcome back to another edition of Grass Studio Maulers. I'm Dave Forrest, this is my good friend
Harvey Lowe.
And in today's episode we continue our progress on the dual Panther build of the old Dragon kit, the late Model G, and the new Werk Super Blitz kit by Das Werk.
Another Panther.
Another, you can never have too many Panthers.
Okay.
Right? Okay, you can never have too many Panthers, too many Stugs, too many Tigers, too many Messerschmitts, or too many Falcons.
You know what? I'm not a German fan, but you saw my 35th. I did the Ming Panther G, and I did a 1/16th to me a Panther. Yes, sir.
There you go.
But yeah, I'd like to do one of these. Anyways.
Yeah. So again, this is kind of a comparison of two different builds that have presented themselves in the market as kind of simplified builds. So this is a smart kit. So this is Dragon's attempt back in the day to simplify the part count, simplify the build process.
Ergo the term smart kit.
Yeah, ergo the term smart kit. And then you have the latest and greatest Super Blitz, which is again the same premise.
Okay.
But I have to say this is executed better, much better. Now there are some things to talk about, some nuances, of course. So let's get rid of these boxes. Let's put these to the side. We can bring them back if we need them.
Nice.
So a couple of things to cover here. Now I haven't. So first of all, again, I've kind of. I guess you could say I kind of raved about this kit in the past. I'm going to continue to rave about it. It is fantastic, and it's dimensionally correct. It's a great platform if you want to super detail it, and I'll talk about some of the things that I did on this. And the assembly, like one of the things that I hate doing, and I'm sure a lot of you armor modelers out there hate doing, are dealing with the all of the road wheels, especially with late model, the larger German tanks, because of all of the road wheels and the interleaving of them and all that. And because they've done this, where they've kind of made these kind of one piece. Well, this is actually two pieces put together, but and because the suspension or the arms are built into or molded, fixed, it's completely straight.
Yes.
So if you want to model something that is on uneven terrain and you want to manipulate the running gear, you're not going to be able to deal with this. Like no amount of surgery is going to make it worth doing with this. But if you just want something that's straight and that's easy and a quick build and that's no fuss, like this, you can't beat this.
If you enter a contest, the first thing the judges look at are the wheel alignment.
Well,
floaters,
when it's close, for sure. And
they don't care what you've done.
Yeah, and you're obviously like there's some gaps in, like you can't see because I put the inner road wheels on, but the arms are hollow. They're not hollow, so that's a kind of a sacrifice that you make, but everything gets covered up. And if you don't see it, who cares?
It seems to me
right?
that it seems just crisper than that. Does that make sense? Like it's just sharper on certain details. It's very nice. That
might be the color or the plastic.
It just looks great.
They're both.
It looks fantastic.
Now they're coming out with a late model Jagd Panther of like the same. I'm buying as soon as I'm buying it. Like I hesitated buying this, because I said I've got a lot of Panthers in my stash already. Right. That I've got the old Tamiya Panthers, which I've got back here somewhere. And I've got the new Ryefield model Panther. So they really need another Panther.
Do you remember what Dave Brown said? That the most popular Tamiya kit, one of the top
it was the old.
Was the old 70s. And still is.
And
it still is.
The old 70s Panther, yeah.
The old 70s Panther.
That's interesting, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's such an iconic vehicle, right? Like
it is. I still want to do one in Berlin.
Yeah. It's a neat, like you think I would get sick of building like I'm building two, and I'm thinking of bringing in the Ryefield Panther, because I just I'm into.
Well, you're
going through my Panther phase, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, you ever notice when you look at these Panthers? I think one of the design requirements was you got to make it look cool. Like, I don't care about ballistics. I don't care. Just you got to make the thing look cool.
Yeah.
It's so cool. It's a cool looking tank. It's a very unique looking tank.
Yeah.
No offense to Allied armor like Sherman's, but this thing's it's pretty.
Yeah.
It's got
they're iconic. So are the Shermans and whatnot. But
but I just like the iconic look of these. Anyways.
So let's talk about the Das Werk kit first. So again, great platform for super detailing, adding details, and that's what I did with. Let's turn it over. You get a better sense from this side. But I did with. I added some 3D printed barrel cleaning
Where'd that
rods from. I think it's from Heavy Hobby.
Oh, okay.
Heavy Hobby. So they do some nice 3D printed work. And then I got to give a shout out to this company called Werk. Panzerwerk. Out of, I think they're out of Poland. I want to say they're out of Poland. They're out of Europe somewhere.
Oh, this with the tracks you use. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So I ordered. So this came in just yesterday. So I was able to. So I ordered 2 sets of these.
Wow, look at that.
One to put on this kit and one to have as a spare. And you can get them from Super Hobby. You can get them directly from the Panzer Werk design website. And
Gorgeous.
I wanted, because again, one of the sacrifices you make with the Das Werk kit is you get this is all one piece. The spare track and the holders are all one piece. But because the tracks in this kit, again, don't have hollow guide horns, so I decided, okay, I'm going to ditch the tracks. I'm going to put 3D printed tracks on the running gear, and I wanted to. And I came across this kit and I ordered it, and it's just a great, really kind of pushing the boundaries of 3D printing and what it can do. So what you get in this is you get all the spare tracks. You get 12 spare tracks. You get track pins, which I just used to connect the tracks together, but I think I was supposed to put them in the top part as well, because I think sometimes you would see, in addition to sitting on the holders, you would have the pins along the top to help fix them. I didn't do that, but anyway, let's
That's great.
Anyways, it is what it is. And then you get the thing that blows my mind is these, and I'm not gonna be able to show them on camera because it's just too small. But these holders, so you have these little pins. So you have these holders that come out, like a U shape that comes out.
Yeah.
There's a hole through it,
Yeah.
and then you can insert this thing.
Yeah.
Right? It's a little pin, and it's tiny. Like in 3D, it's so tiny in 35th scale. And they give you a chain, and I'm like, well, that looks impressive. I wonder how they did that. So when I got it and opened it up, you get a separate little box. I'll open this up here. So the packaging, again, these guys do a wonderful job on pack. Not the cheapest thing, but they're worth every penny in my mind. You open it up, you get some instructions, and then you get this separate little box. Now I'm not going to open it because it has all of these little track pins in it, but the chain, and I didn't see it, so I open it and I just see this part, and I'm like, well, where are the chains, right? Like, where are the chains? And then, so I spilled everything out on my workbench, which has a darker background because this is on the white foam, and the chains are printed and working.
They're 3D printed.
They're
chains?
3D printed chains.
How do they do that?
They're tiny.
How do they do that?
So I'm picking these things up, and these little 3D printed chains are like dangling.
Really?
Yeah, like amazing stuff.
How do you do that?
Amazing stuff. The problem is they are so fragile that putting them, like, you have to be so careful putting them on the tank.
Right. That they're brittle.
That they're very brittle. Now, after the fact, I thought, well, maybe if I dip them in hot water first.
Right.
But any amount of manipulation could break the chain. So they're very fine.
So even with the hot water, it didn't.
Well, I don't know. I didn't try. I thought about it after.
Because that would help.
That might help.
The hot water would help. Yes.
Yeah, but still, like, just picking them up and putting them into the hot water and then getting them out.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
Because I did learn the hard way. I have a conversion set for a Bruget. Is that how you say it? The French Bruget? Bruget. And it's a resin from France, and I learned the hard way. You start cutting it, it breaks, but then the hot water just really
soft. Yeah, I think and again using warm water.
Yeah.
Like we talked about the periscope guards you get on allied tanks.
Yes.
Like, they're very brittle.
Brittle.
But if you dip it in hot water, not boiling hot water, but just hot water, like hot to the touch, it just kind of softens it just a little bit, so it loses that brittleness, and then you can it's a lot easier to cut off, and it doesn't snap or break.
Although while you're talking about hot water, on the classic resin, not the 3D resin, because I do a lot of scratch building, you have those larger hunks of the old resin. You can put those in boiling water. I've done it if it's warped.
Yeah,
And
okay.
that'll work on that.
Right.
But that's the old, not the 3D prints. So
Right.
keep that in mind.
Right.
All right.
Right.
Nice machine gun.
Yeah, so I upgraded the. I used the brass barrel machine gun for the coaxial and for the ball mount on the hull. I talked about the heavy hobby cleaning rods, the tracks,
train there. What do you call it?
the towing
cable.
Yeah, towing cable. That's actually out of the kit.
Oh.
So that towing cable's out of the kit. That's a 3D printed fire extinguisher from Panzer Art. I talked about the 3D printed hooks that I used on the hull because they represent them, but they're just blobs.
You replace those by...
So I cut them off, and these are T-Rex.
T-Rex, yeah.
Which are
they're
really
pretty
nice.
good.
They're really nice. Yeah, T-Rex is gorgeous stuff. And then we'll use the T-Rex tracks for the running gear. Now, so again, and the photo etch, the screens all come with a kit. I'm going to put the machine gun on here. That comes with the kit. Just the tools have the clamps molded on, a little bit thick, but they work.
So you just didn't replace them?
I didn't replace. Yeah, I just did it, but they're nice.
Yeah, you're
they're
gonna paint them.
beautiful.
It's gonna work.
So I
don't know
love
how
this.
the heck you got
And
those
you
tiny.
can see. You can kind of see. Again, it's going to be impossible to see on camera. You can see the chains.
I saw it.
Like it's just
How do you get these little hooks on?
glue with a little bit of VMS super glue.
With fine tweezers? Look
Yeah,
how small it is.
so I cut the part off. I grab the part with fine tweezers.
My God.
Don't apply too much because the more pressure you apply, it pings off.
It
into
flings
perpetuity.
off. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just dip it into the super glue and just place it on the hull.
interesting. Oh,
And
wow.
then the nice thing about that is I can clean up the excess super glue.
Nice. Okay, work. You're
Right.
very, very, very talented.
Yeah.
Dave. Yeah. Okay.
So I may regret not replacing the clamps on the tools because they are a bit heavy compared to the finesse of the other. But okay, not a big deal. Not more work I wanted to do on this. But this is basically
nice.
I just got to put the commander's machine gun on here, and this is ready to go.
Which scheme are you doing again?
So I'm doing one of the out of the box schemes. Well, basically this scheme here.
Which would be where? Where's that?
Late-
Hungary or
Late war, I think.
Like
I think
Berlin?
Germany.
Germany.
Yeah,
It's a
Germany,
good
not
scheme.
Berlin.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe they were close to Berlin. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
But yeah, so there's a unit that had this particular marking.
Neat.
So we'll do that. I know there was a question in the comments about how would I approach the painting of this because typically I'll put it all like I'll do the yellow and then the brown or the green and the brown. This one here, because the dominant color seems to be either the green or the brown or the red, I guess. And what I might do is I might paint like the underside would be completely primer red.
Got it.
Right, I'll do
So-
it a little differently.
What's the base color then? Primer red,
I don't know. It's either going to be the
Right.
red or the green.
right? Because it's not Dunkelgelb.
It might be the green.
I think so.
Yeah, I
Right.
might start with the green.
Right.
And then mask off, do the red, then the mask off, and do the Dunkelgelb.
Now, when you say mask off, what kind of mask would you use? Like tape?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they're pretty.
They're pretty tight.
tight.
Yeah.
Straight lines.
Yeah. Now, I've seen some interpretations of this where this looks like this was done freehand, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do this
Yeah.
with tape.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then maybe diffuse it a bit.
Yeah. Sure.
Right? With,
Yep,
with,
yep,
the-
yep.
with some yellow or something. But that's the one I'm going to do this.
Okay.
On this one. Now, that's again, a beautiful kit. The Yak Panther comes out, I'm buying it. I am sold on the concept here. I did some. No, you don't have to because it's rolled steel, but I did some texturing of the side of the hull, the armored bits, like the copula here, and then the front. Don't have to do it. Don't need to do it. Might be even a little bit inaccurate, but I did it anyways. Now let's talk about the Dragon kit because I think these kits, these Dragon kits, especially the Panthers, are forgotten gems. And the reason why I say that is one. Well, let's point out some of the negative points first. So the assembly is nowhere near as easy as this, like full stop. Secondly, there was a bit of a warp in the hull on mine, so trying to get it to fit properly took a little bit of muscling to do. But I think that's where the negative comments. Oh, and the running gear, like the running gear are.
It's finicky.
Yeah, they're like I gotta fix them. The only way I'm gonna be able to get them to work properly is to put the wheels on,
Right.
Put it on a glass,
on
on a piece of glass.
I use ceramic tile.
Make sure everything's straight, and then glue.
Yeah.
You know, so you have the opportunity of making it. But if I was going to put it on a diorama, which a friend of mine suggested yesterday, it's a good idea. I just don't know that I want to do it with this vehicle.
Yeah, but then you have to have the exactly match the ground.
Yeah,
otherwise you get floaters. And,
yeah, and I don't.
And now, are those loose? Are those what do you call those torsion bar? Are they loose?
They are.
Yeah. Okay.
So they'll go up and down, so you can manipulate them. But I don't know that I want to.
Yeah.
I want to do that. But I might be convinced of it. And then, so that's really kind of the negative comments end, right? So it's really it's a more finicky build, even though it's supposedly a smart kit, a dumbed down.
It's a '90s kit, right? Or is it 2000s?
No, it's probably
2000s.
Yeah, probably 2010s.
Okay.
So kind of not that long ago. Now so I mentioned this was a forgotten gem. The reason why I say that is that there really isn't much to do to enhance the detail out of the box. Like I look, the track holders are beautiful out of the kit, and they have holes drilled through the U brackets. And the only reason why I put on aftermarket tracks is because the detail is so nice and everything's drilled out, right? So they're fantastic that way. But even the little holders, the little like these things, are plastic. And if you just use some sharp nipper, like God hand nippers, to get them off and sand them a little bit, they fit through. No chain, but okay. But you can barely see the chain. I'm not going to bother with chain. I have photo etch chains, but I'm not going to bother with chains.
Again, sorry to interrupt. 35th scale rule. If you can you see those chains from 35 feet away? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't. I'm not going to bother with this. Now, and then the other amazing thing, which I didn't notice until almost kind of recently. So you see on the side of the turret marks, these little gray marks. Now I thought these were indents. Like I thought they were molded indents to put in the loops,
right?
Like the camel loops.
Yeah.
Right, but they're not. They're like different. It's like they're marked somehow.
Got it.
In the molding process.
So you show where you put it.
Yeah, but it's not. That's so if brilliant. I paint over it, like there's nothing to fill.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, like it's. Like, and this is from, that's like brilliant. 10, 15 years ago, right?
You know this hobby's for serious people when they do stuff like that.
Yeah, like, well done, done, Dragon. Like, as much as, and the instructions are abysmal, but everybody knows that, right? Trying to figure out what goes where, it's not always the easiest thing. But they give you all the photo etch, so you can build a very accurate late war or late model G out of the box.
Now I noticed that this one is chin mantlet. That one's not, or is that one?
That is also chin. Yeah.
Okay. So it's the same variant.
It is, and some had chin, some didn't.
Yeah.
So this particular vehicle had a chin. So I'm going to talk about researching. It was another question about how to do research. So we'll talk about that in a second. Which is why there's not a lot. There's no tools on this. Like you're not going to see any more tools on this. But like a bit like all the photo etch you need. You get no aluminum barrel, but this is fine. I elected to put on, just like I did with the Das Werk kit, a 3D printed barrel from T-Rex, which is just a simple, because you have to put them together. You can do it nice out of the box, but I had these. I have a bunch
beautiful.
Of them, so I essentially use that.
So this same as this? No, that's the kit.
No, that's both are the same.
Okay.
T-Rex, yeah. Again, the out of the kit or out of the box options are great, but these are just a little bit better.
Okay.
I used the machine gun out of the kit. I didn't replace it like I did with this. Like very nice, like under a coat of paint and a little.
Do you have to drill out the barrel?
No, it was slide molded. And then I harvested. So this kit comes with either the regular stowage box in the back, or they give you an IR option. Which this vehicle had. So this specific vehicle had. So I was able to take steel, because I wasn't using on this as a spare part, steal it and put it on here to make it.
Let's see the back. It's what is that?
It's an IR kit.
Oh, neat.
So they would have the IR capabilities, and this is where they would, I think, either stow some of the equipment or right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Learn something new every day.
Yeah. Right. And then not a lot of tools. So I have a picture. So let's talk about the research. So a couple of things. So I have all of these books, these Top Colors books from Kagero, which are excellent. If you ever see these, grab them,
Yeah,
because
they
the nice
disappear.
thing is that they give you decals for all of the options that they show you. So basically, it's a bunch of profiles. I'll put the decals aside. It's a bunch of profiles that they have of different subjects. Panther. In this case, this is dedicated to panthers. And for every profile in the book, they give you the decal options for
That's
it.
nice.
And the nice thing about the decal options, if I can have the decal sheet, is that you get 3 scales. You get 35th.
Yeah.
You get your 72nd, which are your two, your most
So-
common, and 48th scale. So for doing
72nd too?
72nd, 48th,
I will-
and 35th. So
You'll build 72nd, I'll steal them off you.
maybe for a price,
Okay.
right? A small but exorbitant price. But I've used these on 48 scale because the marking options for 48, like the Tamiya vehicles and the 48 scale,
Interesting.
either use the decals
Yeah.
or trying to. But this, like,
That's
there's
cool.
a wealth.
That's cool.
So
I
very and
presume
they're-
the other ones are like that too?
yes, and they're all printed by Cartograph, so they're good quality,
That's
thin,
fantastic.
beautiful. So I'm a big fan of these. Let's put that aside. So in flipping through the book, I came across this vehicle, which is late war, which is the one I'm doing here,
Interesting.
right? So, and they give you, and it's simple. There's just a couple of crosses and the 174 on each side of the turret,
And no tools.
and no tools.
tracks.
And no tracks on this side. So
spare
you
tracks.
get. So this is So here's how I do research. So it all comes back to doing a photo and maybe understanding a little bit about
Yes.
where the unit was, what battles it took part in, the Western Front, Eastern Front, defensive, whatever the case may be. And in this case, so this was in Germany, Western Front, and this was part of an unidentified unit, so probably an ersatz type of unit, and had the late factory. So going back to
Late factory
so this
wheels?
is no well certain yeah there's certain. Let's talk about the camel first. So here, so this is accurate. This is an accurate depiction of late war Panther camo for this type of vehicle, where it's just green and yellow, where they were running out. Like green became the default color because they were running out of yellow.
Oh.
So
That's the base color.
that's the base color.
I didn't know
But then there was field modifications on this, where the crews added a little bit of brown just to break up the pattern a bit.
Interesting.
Right, so a little bit different. Now you'll see
That is
that
attractive.
some of these vehicles had so everybody, I think most people, if you know Panthers, some of them had steel road wheels,
Yes.
but those were not very practical because they added so much weight,
Yes, right.
that they were breaking down all the time. So they just kept the steel wheel on the rear
Right.
just to help support the weight of the engine.
Right. That's cool.
Right, so that detail is reflected. So I can
on the kit.
on the Dragon kit. You can't do that with this guy, with the Das Werk kit, but you can do it with the
Did
Dragon
they
kit.
give you these guys too, the rubber rimmed as well?
Yeah.
Wow,
Well, they
cool.
do. It's this exact.
Oh, they give you that in the kit.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so you can do them either all rubber or with
That's
this
cool.
last steel wheel.
I'm gonna
Right.
do that one in 72
So it's
when I steal your
so
decals.
it's a neat thing, and there's no tools on this. So
That's
that was the
cool.
inspiration for
That's
it. But I
cool.
said, gee, I really, I'd love to get a photo of this.
Yes.
So I read this.
Yes.
So how do I do research? Not very complicated. So I read this, and it says the color profile was created on the basis of a photo from Ovind Leonson's collection. So I'm like, well, who's Ovind Leonson? So I go onto my tablet
Google is your best friend.
and I Google Panther. I try to Google Panther 174. Couldn't find anything, and then I Google Ovind Leonson,
What do you
and I
get?
find
I gotta do that one. That's cool.
a photo.
Holy crap!
That's the
Look
photo
at the photo.
of the actual vehicle. So it confirms that there's no tools. Now you
That's-
only see this side of the vehicle. So I took some artistic license.
sure,
So I said, well, if there's no tools on this side,
Yeah.
there's at least not a lot of tools. So all I did is I just put one of the towing
Right.
clevises, whatever you call those, and I just put a couple of tracks.
But that's your interpretation.
But that's my interpretation. But
Right.
there's no
Right. Right.
there's no other other photo of this that at least I've come
or
across.
the top for the pattern.
Right.
But
So
Nice.
there's not a lot of information about, other than this was Western Front, May 1945.
and you get a sense of the mud.
Yeah, yeah. So you can see like there's a steel road wheel here.
Yeah, that's cool.
Right. You
I
can
gotta
see
do this
that
one.
there's no camel loops, but it has these loops that go along the top of the turret. So I think there's 8 per side or 6 per side. 6 per side, I think. Anyway, I have to. You can see the 174 that's been distressed a little bit. You can see a crewman here. I don't know if that might be an Allied crewman. That might be abandoned.
It looks like notice the barrel's drooping down.
Yeah, yeah. So this might be after it's been abandoned after the war.
Yes.
And then you see an IR. You see the IR box here with the panel that's open with the German cross on it, which is reflected in.
But
the
there
color.
would be no IR on the turret, like the actual IR.
No. So then the question becomes, well, if this guy's an Allied guy, then at what point, like, were there tools on this? Right, that were just stripped
They
off
just
or
took
scavenged
off.
or whatever.
Yeah. That makes sense. That makes very much
But
sense.
I decided to model it as it's shown here. Now I could have put some tools on, but I said, hey, it's kind of a neat representation, right? Like the other Panther I've had.
Look
has
closely. That's a Japanese infantryman.
No, it's not.
Joking.
But it does look an Allied because he's got the peak cap.
Yeah, he's got a beret.
Yeah, it looks like a beret.
Looks like a British tanker guy.
Yeah. So probably something they came across abandoned.
Yeah.
So again,
Now-
now you can make the argument at some point. Maybe there were it had its full complement of tools.
Now I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, got to do the dark mud at
Yes.
the axle.
Yeah, exactly. You can see that here. You can see
Right.
the steel road wheel
I'm
here.
not a huge fan of mud on models, but that one you'd have to do.
You can see that. Let's go back. Switch it to the side here. You can see that the fender here is broken. Has been sheared off at this point. And there's an actual cut point there because they're sections. So I cut it off, put it on. You can see that there's still a bracket for the fender here. It looks like a bracket. This dark spot here. So again, a photo.
Yeah,
it's
priceless.
It's
priceless.
so valuable in terms of,
And especially the quality of that.
yeah.
That's amazing.
So I could do a diorama where I could take advantage of the fact that the road, and maybe I will, right? And
it's subtle.
yeah,
Subtle bend in the wheels, not a lot.
yeah.
That's easy to do. That's
Right.
beautiful.
And it looks like there's something on the top. Maybe I don't know what that is.
And again, when
Like an old
I
road
look
wheel?
at that photo, Dave, I see that the colors are not fully, filled in. They're kind of splotchy here and
Yeah,
there.
yeah. And I think that's where they made some field mods. So you can tell that there's yellow, and there's either brown or green, right? But again, getting
That's cool. I'd do that.
right.
I'd do
Yeah,
that
look at
myself.
It's a nice little
And
so just to validate
mine would be better than yours, I would think.
on all probability. Probability.
That's cool, Dave.
Yeah.
That's
So that's neat. So
Yeah.
So that's how I do research.
that's cool.
Now I have a bunch of books, so I'm blessed to have a bunch of
Really?
books.
You have a bunch of books,
I do have a bunch of
on
books.
models?
Which are great for
Yeah,
getting close-up shots of placement of tools and brackets and whatnot on the vehicle, and there's some unit information. But the internet, you can't be.
What are your
cannot
thoughts
be
on figures? Do you like them?
I
Do you add
do.
them?
I would if I could do them really well. I'd have a lot more of them.
Yeah, I think that's another frontier. For
I
me.
agree. I
It's
totally
figures,
agree.
and I'm working on a serious figure right now, and it's. I mean, you do it for armor as an accessory. I get it, and it's lovely, but I'd like to do a serious.
Oh, by the way, I'm getting into 72nd scale armor, so you can't have my 72nd scale.
I don't know why I do these episodes. Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah. So, so I think that's so. The next time you see this,
Yeah. Starting with painting.
the painting will have started.
Now, you
and
do
I'll talk
them-
about building how I approach the.
If you're doing two of them, when you paint them, would you like scale of economies? Would you paint them at the same time if it's the same color?
If I had the energy, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sure.
I do that if I.
Like
have,
I would certainly prime them. Because priming is easy.
Easy,
I prime them at the
yeah.
same time.
Yeah. I have 20 models on the go because I've got some for editors and I've got some for clients, and I find that I produce a lot more if I just spray them all at once. I choose the colors that this one's the same.
Yeah. If I have the steam, because sometimes doing the maybe not so much the base coats, but like when you're doing the camo and you're spraying on, like you're very
Yeah.
it just takes, and then the finger gets tired from the.
Yeah.
And I just have to I don't have the. I can't sit at the bench for
I
16
can.
hours like you can.
I can. You know what I found I've nurtured is I can spray ambidextrous with an airbrush.
Really?
Yeah, I can do both hands.
Well, that explains it.
One gets tired, the other one goes. All right. Beautiful.
And the nice thing, again, the nice thing about even though it's a simplified kit, you can have your hatches where like this, the commander hatch isn't glued on. So if I wanted to put a figure in there, I could. There's a nice set. I can't remember who it's by. That has a commander just kind of and there's a guy sticking out here throwing out an empty shell.
Yeah.
I'd love to get that. This would be a great opportunity to do that because this works. But see how like it operates perfectly.
Oh wow!
Right?
This one too?
No, that one does not.
Now, quick thing.
Yeah.
You showed me this and it worked on my half track. You don't mask that rubber or paint. That's a pain in the ass. So you would do the black first or the?
Yeah. So these guys I'll prime in a dark brown.
Okay.
Because of the yellow.
Okay.
Although you can make an argument I could do this in black because there's almost no yellow on it, but
right.
I'll probably do them both in dark brown. And then that's a great base, whether it's dark brown or black.
Yeah.
And these are the Gunzy, either the Gunzy Mr. Surfacer,
right.
The 1500 black.
Right.
Or the mahogany, which is 50-50 black and mahogany. That's the dark brown I use. It's a great color for rubber.
So would you spray the rubber first, or would you?
Well, it's the primer.
Oh, and then you would spray the color. But which one would you do the rubber last? Would you do it in black?
Yeah, whatever color. If it's dark brown,
just hand by hand.
No, it's just I prime this, so this is either black or really dark brown.
I get it, and then you do the base color.
And then I do the base color inside here.
Got it.
Right?
Without masking.
Without masking.
Yeah, I did that on my. You're right.
Yeah.
Because by the time you throw mud on it, it makes no difference.
And in this case, like you have like these. So in this case, you get out a free jail card, and the fact that you've got this rim here.
Yes.
That is often worn.
Yes,
down to the metal.
Right.
So I can take one of those AK markers.
Yes.
The gunmetal or silver marker, probably gunmetal, and I can just paint this to simulate that wear and tear.
Because I find when I did my main Panther, oh my God, the wheels took me forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because I masked all, it's like.
And this is how hard it is to put the wheels on. Right.
Watch your little details on the engine.
There.
That's it.
That's on. And it's straight.
It's beautiful.
Right?
Yep.
So, some may find this gimmicky. Some may find this a cheat. Some may find this inaccurate.
Do they have
I think it's great.
Do they have a Tiger 1 like that? Not yet.
Tiger Mold Designs released a simplified Tiger 1.
Do you have it?
No. I haven't seen it. But I've read some reviews, and the reviews were not kind to it because the oversimplification,
I see,
where the tools were like molded on.
Right.
So, and I haven't seen it, so this is all hearsay, and
Not to say there isn't anything wrong with those types of models.
No,
not everybody wants
to
do these super detailed. We just happen to be,
But it looks like Das Werk or Tacom or whoever is behind this got it right here because there's enough detail. Where it's good enough, I would use it.
Yeah.
Versus, like if these were molded on, the detail would suck.
Yeah.
And people are griping about the fact that this fan is closed off, that you don't have the option. Like these are little segments that you can take off and put on the side here. That you don't have the option to do that, but But I think there's somebody I saw, and I can't remember who, but I think there's a 3D printed option that gives you.
Like the one you have open here.
Yeah, that gives you the option to have it open. So somebody's going to come up with a solution for it if you wait long enough.
Yeah, but sometimes we're so serious about the hobby. There is a market for a simplified kit where people don't want to do that. Well, I just want to build something in an afternoon.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to go through all this.
Brings you back to your childhood. Like I remember building that Challenger, like that to me a 48 scale Challenger 2 that came out a few years ago. Yeah. I built that in like a couple of evenings. Yeah. And one of them was just sitting out on the deck here. Yeah. With like a beer. And snack, and just putting it together.
That's not out of the box.
Yeah. It took me back to my childhood. Like the joy of just putting something together and not worrying about the detailing and fussing about it. This gets you really close to that. Now, the OCD in me wants to add details, but you have a good platform to do that.
Well, that's why we have our channel. We do these details.
You have the option.
That's correct.
Like if you wanted to do completely out of the box, which a lot of people have. Yeah. Like John Benanti built his out of the box.
Oh right,
and it looks stunning. Like it's like He kept the tracks and everything.
You know, it just brings back when I was a kid. Maybe it speaks to the psyche here, but I used to build an aircraft, and I'd put the firecracker in the fuselage with the wick out like on purpose. No, think of it.
That explains a lot.
Think of it. How kind of like, But that's what we did, and so we actually painted them up, thinking, well, why would we do that?
We used to have hooks on them and then run fishing line. And then put the firecrackers in, like an old Hurricane, run it down.
Really?
And then try and take pictures of it.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh, I never did that. You
Yeah.
guys in Quebec were much more creative than we were in Ontario.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice, Dave.
Yeah.
Nice.
But, so anyway, slightly different approaches.
Yeah.
But both build up into what I consider
Yeah.
really accurate representations, and you can throttle the amount of detail that you want to do on this one very easily, and you have all kinds of options to make a hyper accurate kit with the, So if I see this particular kit again, like at a show or something, discounted, I'd probably pick it up.
Really?
Yeah.
And you'd build it again?
I would build it
Wow.
again. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Okay.
Like the chin mantlet.
Now that I couldn't do.
What's that?
Do what you just said, but do another. I'd like to move on to a different kit. That's
just because I love the subject.
Right.
And there's so many, there's the wealth of camo
You
options.
got a 72nd Panther too, don't you? Don't you?
I think I do.
I think you
Yes, I do. Yes, I have the.
Border? Not border.
No, the Vespid.
Vespid.
Yes.
I have.
Yeah.
one
So I
too.
need those decals. I can't give them. I need those decals. Keep them.
We'll talk about that.
We'll talk. Hey, open for business.
I love the sharing the research. That is what I would do for sure.
Yeah.
Now, just before we leave, does Tamiya make a 48th Panther G?
Yes,
Okay.
they do. But solid guide horns.
Oh, is that right, eh? Okay.
Same thing with their tire.
You know what I picked up? I picked up a 148th Bondi half track. The SDKF said 7.
Oh,
And it's a beautiful kit
is it?
from the 1970s.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Bondi does. Bondi turned their attention. Like basically, like I have some of their Star Wars kits, and that they're kind of gimmicky where they're snap fit.
Yeah.
But the detail is
Yeah.
amazing.
I'm looking at this thing, and it's the only game in town.
If they turn their attention back
Yes.
to historical subjects, who knows?
Yes. Okay.
So that's that's where we are with these two builds. So next time you guys see this, there'll be some paint on them, and we'll talk about the finishing process, and I'll decide whether this is going to be in a bit of a dire, which would be a first for me, or if I'm just going to leave it like that. But I do like the option of keeping the tools off of it, which is kind of neat.
Cool.
So again, thanks a lot for hanging out with us, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Bye-bye.
Take care all.